Warning, this podcast was produced by two men who still think that swearing is both big and clever. As a result, it contains quite a lot of it. Therefore, this podcast is not suitable for children, unless they're really fucking cool children.
Hey everyone, Krister here. Welcome along to another episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. I'm doing this week because Dave is off on holiday. We recorded the episode last week, and he's buggered off to Spain or somewhere like that. Left me holding the fort. But I hope you're going to enjoy this one. It's about a big album for both of us, Nirvana's In Utero. And as you'll be able to tell, we're both kind of fans of the band anyway. And it was a lot of fun to revisit this full album after kind of a long time for both of us listening to it in full anyway, you know. It is just both of us this week. We've got no guests or anything. Thanks again to Jenny Fensom for helping us out on our last episode, Meatloaf, which we got a load of good feedback on. People really seemed to enjoy that. It was such a ridiculous album in so many ways, and it was lovely to have someone else there to enjoy it with us. So thanks again to Jenny for helping us out. Thank you also, by the way, to a few different people who have very generously donated some money after the Meatloaf one. Really, really much appreciated. Thanks again. Including a good friend of mine, Niall Bakewell, who is a big fan of this show that we know and is finally got his own podcast, The Zeros podcast, up and running, just released. So if you want to hear someone else investigating different aspects of the 90s time period, things like art, politics, the fashion, as well as the music and the films and the pop culture, then definitely go and give it a listen. Dave and I do appear on a future episode when he gets into more of the music of the era. But yeah, search that out. It's a really good podcast. But in the meantime, do enjoy this one. I hope you get as much out of it as we do. We'll be back again as soon as we can with another new episode, but that obviously just depends on as and when we can get our shit together and get it recorded. Until then, thanks again. See you soon.
Yes, people, welcome to another episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. My name is Dave Fensom. I am here, as always, with Krister Greer.
Hello, everyone.
We are here to talk about a pretty fucking seminal album, I'd say.
A big old record, this one is. Really,
man.
Big deal.
If you were an alternative kid of a certain age, then this album would have featured in your life in some shape or form. Certainly, even if you weren't listening to it, people were talking about it around you. Which album am I talking about, Krister?
We are talking about Nirvana's In Utero.
Nirvana's In Utero. Now, obviously, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you will have heard we covered Nevermind back in the first season of this, or second season?
Oh, God, no, what would that would have been? Just
91?
Last season, I think it was.
I would recommend, if you haven't heard that episode, going back and having a listen to it, because we might reference some of the stuff we said in it.
Well, also, there's no point in us covering in the same amount of detail how big Nirvana fans we were at the time, because we've said all this before. Even though that one we did on Nevermind was a special, because it didn't get to number one, but this one is a proper episode, because this was number one in the UK.
Everyone I knew was anticipating this record.
Oh, it was huge. And we're talking about September 1993.
Yeah.
And I think the first single came out in the summertime. It was like, oh, this is the first new stuff since Nevermind. And everyone was like, oh, I can't wait. Everyone Absolutely. I knew was really up for this.
I mean, I can't remember if I told this story or not. I feel like I've told this story on the podcast before, so if I have, then bear with me. But I remember the first time at a little indie club, Mirage, the Switch, as it was, the first time they played Heart-Shaped Box on the dance floor.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it just, as soon as the first chorus kicked in, it just kicked off.
Oh, it's
just
instantly.
kicked off. Just the harder pit than you've been at most gigs you've ever been to.
Yeah.
And to this day, like my good friend Grant, you know
I know Grant.
He went down on the floor and caught like a steel code cap boot to the face. And if you've ever seen Grant's eyebrow scar, like his eyebrows split and he's got things there, that's what it was. It split his eyebrow, yeah. He wouldn't go, there was drinking to do, so he wouldn't go to the hospital.
That's
and I
very
remember this
grand.
guy that we hung out with, Paul Rowland, was there in like a check shirt and did like the most kind of the heroic thing that he did. We were all kind of gone at the toilets, mate, going, God, you should probably go to the hospital, man, whatever. We're like 16, 17.
Yeah, sure.
Haven't really got the wherewithal for that. And Paul just like magnificently ripped off the sleeve right, of his lumberjack shirt and used it as a bandage.
Oh, mate.
And then he had to rip the other arm off so that
he didn't look like
just,
a twat.
Just have one arm.
That's brilliant.
So anyway, so that was my memory of that.
That's
but yeah,
heroism.
So look, if we're talking about where we were, we know that we were big fans of this already.
Well, indeed. And so, quick recap: 93. I was 18. I was 18 in 93, and this is September. So I had literally just gone to university as well. So I'd moved away from home for the first time, and I was in a different place. And this was one of the first records I bought whenever I was over in Luton.
So what's interesting here actually is we're kind of marking a point when everything up until now you've been in Northern Ireland,
yes,
and I've been in Luton,
yes,
and now we're both
in Luton at this point.
We don't know each other yet, but geographically we're closer.
Indeed, and I do remember this coming out, and I was obviously, like I've said, I was a big fan. If you want to know how big a fan, go and listen to the other episode. But I was a massive Nirvana fan, and I'd been anticipating this. As soon as it was announced, I was there day one, the Monday it came out or whatever it was, I bought this.
Me too.
Straight onto the record player, playing it over and over and over and getting into it. And so it was a big, big deal for me. One of the biggest records of the year for me, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was first day of purchase, and there was almost a fear of being left out of the conversation.
Yeah, sure.
There was you wanted to have an opinion on it day one.
Oh yeah, because you knew all your mates were going to be talking about it.
Yeah, and I had tickets to see him. I think.
Oh yeah,
I think I was trying to think if the tour was announced pre or post release, but
I'm not sure.
But I had to. I mean, I think it got rescheduled once, and then indefinitely.
Quite.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was ready for this, man, and I was so hyped off of Heart Shaped Box, and I've fucking kind of blowing the cover on that a little bit, but we'll talk about that when it comes round.
But the other flip side of this as well, and I remember some of my friends were in this box, but I do remember a lot of the press were almost ready to pounce because there was such obviously a huge ascent with Nevermind, and the British music press are known for loving to give a band a kicking if they get too popular. They're like, don't get fucking too complacent here. And so I remember a lot of people being ready to dislike this, no matter what it heard or what it sounded like as well.
Oh, for sure, man. There was already that, they've sold out shit.
Precisely.
And it's like you hadn't heard of them before this. There was a lot of people that had never heard of them talking about indie snob virtue signalling going on.
Yeah, sure.
But at the same time, I was part of local bands at this point, and all of the bands, to a certain degree, were aping Nirvana.
Oh, I see.
The bands that were playing it. People were playing songs that sounded like Nirvana songs,
right.
We were exactly the right age for it. We were 17. Music was the most pivotal thing. And, they weren't my favourite band. We've said this before. They weren't my favourite band. I had other bands, but you couldn't deny the size of them,
Not at all.
Anyway, so this album comes out.
Yes, indeed, and it was number one. It went straight to number one for only 1 week. It was straight in because huge first day sales. It was only 1 week. September 19th, it went to number one. Then after that, Meatloaf, who we just did, went back to number one for the first time.
Yeah,
we'll see that Meatloaf album come back and back again until the end of 1993.
Yeah, it really repeats only that Meatloaf.
But the album is a 1 week wonder. But it was such an impact, and that's I would totally expect that. Nevermind never made number one. It was like got to number 17 or something. It's ridiculous.
I mean, we'll talk about some parts of this album. The fact that it was number one at all is
totally incredible. Yeah. So if you're listening to this podcast, I imagine you know about Nirvana in general. Just to go over, this is their third studio album. Obviously, they've had Incesticide as well, and then afterwards they would have the Unplugged, they would have the live stuff, but this is the third and last studio album. Cobain, originally he wanted to call it I Hate Myself and Want to Die, and then he wanted to call it Verse, Chorus, Verse. They landed on In Utero, which apparently was from a line, I think, from a Courtney Love poem or some other story that she'd written.
That's the story I read.
This has sold over 15 million albums to date, so it's massive. But just in context, Nevermind has sold over 30 million. So it's not the behemoth that was, but I don't think it could have been. And I think whenever you look at it in terms of what could they do next, it would have been very difficult to top it. And as we'll find out, they deliberately didn't want to. They didn't want to do Nevermind Part 2, no matter how much the record company wanted that. And so for it to sell 15 million is still really massive.
Exactly. And who knows what it would have done if they'd continued touring it. And if
it's very true.
And, if their cultural ascent had continued in the way it did. Or maybe the fact that he killed himself and took on his 27 Club legendary status. Maybe that boosted their sales. Who knows?
I think it definitely did. I think in the week that he did kill himself, sales went silly on this and it went back up to number one in some places and that sort of stuff. But as we will see, one of the main things was the production they did on this. The previous album had been not clean, because it's still a grunge album, it's still a rock album, so we're not talking about a pop album. But the Andy Wallace and Butch Vig production that had been on Nevermind, they wanted to kind of get away from that, and so they brought in Steve Albini.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt was never like that chuffed with how it sounded, and obviously some of his dissatisfaction rolled over, but kind of the success they had, and he wanted to put out an album that sounded like something he would listen to.
Absolutely,
they demoed with the guy that produced Bleach, and he's on the record as saying he was never really in the frame for the album because they were talking, like, debating whether they went with Steve Albini or not.
Sure.
Now, funnily enough, I tell you what, mate. I mean, could you have a bigger actually, maybe not. But in terms of contrast between producers between the last two records, Jim Steinman and Steve Albini.
True, that is opposite ends of a spectrum.
But is it though? Or because do you think that Jim Steinman is a commercial shill, or do you think he's someone that's utterly passionate about the ridiculous thing that he does?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I imagine if someone told him to do something different, he'd tell him to fuck off. I get that. So there's definitely the mindset there. But he wants everything to be as big as possible and as overblown as possible. Whereas Albini wants to go, all right, look, set up in the kitchen. I'm going to stick some mics around here and we'll do it in 2 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. It's two very different styles, but I bet you, fucking at the heart of it, similar beasts.
Maybe so.
Anyway,
so.
We're going to get hate mail for that, probably from Steve Albini.
But yeah, like you say, Cobain wanted an album that sounded like the bands that he loved. He wanted to be able to go, right, this is, the real me, or this is the real Nirvana. And Albini had produced 2 of Kurt Cobain's favourite records, Surfer Rosa by the Pixies and Pod by the Breeders. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, and also I think some of the PJ Harvey stuff, he's like, I really enjoyed the sound of that.
I think that was the story, wasn't it? It was like when they expressed interest to do it, that's PJ Harvey Rid of Me was the album that Albini sent to them to say, this is what the sound in my rooms will be like. Get your head around this.
This is what we'll do.
Yeah.
Right, and that was, Cobain was like, fucking give me this, that's fine. And some of it, the majority of it, they were absolutely fine with. There's a couple of times where they were like, actually, this needs a bit of a polish, which we will see as we go through.
Well, yeah, there was certainly some interference probably in that conversation, wasn't there?
I think there was some, but I think genuinely some of it was Cobain going, actually, no, there's more of a big pop tune in this that you're not letting out. I want someone else to have a go.
Yeah, I agree. I think certainly I would say Steve Albini possibly disagrees with you.
Oh no, he has said very much that he thinks that some of the songs on the album, the finished album, that are not what he wanted at all.
Yeah, and I think his feeling is that they were kind of talked into things a bit. And I think there's some debate about how much they pushed and how much. Kind of how much who wanted what, basically.
I see, okay.
But yeah, who knows, man? Who knows?
So.
Who knows? The decisions were made, and you can't imagine anyone at Giffen really saying no to Kurt Cobain at this point. But they're still kids, man. They're still kids. They don't know.
Oh, they are, and there was whenever they because again they recorded this in 2 weeks with Albini, and the band had refused to send any ongoing demos to the record company. They didn't want anything heard before it was done.
They paid for themselves for that reason. Yeah.
Indeed. And so afterwards, they sent the tapes to a couple of people at Geffen or whoever it was, the management company as well. And the feedback was really bad. The feedback was, the bigwigs are not going to be happy with this.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pushback to almost just scrap the whole thing and start again because they were like, well, this is not Nevermind 2. Mm-hmm. This is some unlistenable stuff in places. There's too much going on. There's too much noise. There's not enough going on. why don't you just start again? And Cobain was having to fight against that.
Yeah.
So he had to stand his corner for sure.
It feels like at points that maybe they started to believe some of what they were being told as well, because, you're going to, in that position, you're like, oh, fuck, well, maybe these guys know what they're doing. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You're talking to people who have signed X amount of bands that you know have sold 1 million records. You go like, oh, these people probably must know the music business. Yeah. But then I also read that because then Cobain played some stuff to his friends, and presumably friends in bands around the Seattle scene or whoever it was, and they were instrumental in going, nah, do not budge, do not. But this is brilliant. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Don't cave in whatsoever. So he didn't in that way. There is a lovely quote that I saw just in terms of record company management types. While recording the album, Steve Albini, he had a policy of totally ignoring anything that anybody said except for the band members. So whoever was coming through the studio, he wouldn't take any notes from them. He was only listened to the 3 people in the band. And he has said that everyone associated with Nirvana that he met at that point were, in quotes, the biggest pieces of shit I ever met.
Nice.
Because I imagine there'd been an awful lot of just proper parasites who knew this was a big money band and were hanging out going, fucking, I was at the studio with Nirvana, and putting their oar in because they'd be coked off their face and going, you might want to turn the treble up or whatever it was. And Albini's just like, you dickheads. Yeah. So I do enjoy that. He just didn't take any shit from them. Yeah, but the recording was actually it was 6 days. We recorded in 6 days and mixed in 5 days, so it was proper in
punk rock.
Exactly, which is what they wanted.
Obviously, he famously, most people will know this story, but just in case you don't, Albini famously just took a flat fee on this record and refused the royalties. I think it was like $100,000 he took, but would have been liable to at least $500,000 worth of additional fees.
If he'd taken whatever credit,
no, that's immoral.
That's what he does, isn't it? He never takes what they call points on records. He just this is my fee. You pay it, and I'm done. Yeah. And with some of the stories I've heard about Albini, sometimes he just sounds like a prick. Fair enough. Yeah. But I do respect that, because the man could be a millionaire more than he is.
Sure.
If he had said, all right, okay.
A few years ago, he was fighting for the existence of his studio, wasn't he?
I think that's a decent ethic to have.
Okay, so we always start with chatting about the album cover.
Yes.
Obviously, you're going from one of the most recognisable album covers of all time in Nevermind, to this. And, what you've got here is you've got a anatomical model with basically, kind of a clear thing so you can see internal organs, a little bit of blood structure, kind of like a bodyworks type thing.
Absolutely.
Where you've had these kind of wings transposed on it.
Angel wing things.
Yeah, angel wings. And, I think that central image is, it's cool and it's striking. It's not the same level of iconic as the other one. I've always thought this fucking background colour was a strange choice.
Oh, well, the kind of the yellowy cream.
It's like 90s kitchen yellow, isn't it? If you went into anyone's kitchen in the 90s, that's the colour they'd painted their kitchen.
Right.
And it just never. I really like the back with the kind of the weird kind of vaginal kind of montage that Kurt Cobain created.
Yeah, it's very strange. There's some fetuses on here, bones. But it's all pink, and there's flowers as well. So I'm guessing it's about weirdness and birth and life.
It's got a very feminine energy. I think it's
sure.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you think to it?
I think because of what it is, it's become a very recognisable piece of work, a very recognisable piece of art. And I'm going to say something that is entirely against, because I am wearing the In Utero t-shirt as we speak. I'm wearing a t-shirt with that image on it, but I don't see In Utero t-shirts. No. I see Nevermind t-shirts all the time. You don't see this image on t-shirts and in general around the place, because it's not as well. Obviously, we've said it wasn't as big a seller, and it didn't make as big an impact on the world. But also, I think image-wise, it is less of a fuck me. That's something you'll remember. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I guess the Nirvana t-shirt you see more than anything is like the kind of the smiley face.
True. Yeah, which I also have as well.
Oh, of course you do. Anyway, right. So let's crack straight into this then. I say crack straight into it. We've been talking about fucking 40 minutes. So the first track is called "Serve the Servants."
Right.
Okay, Discord,
Yeah.
and we're off.
We are. But, right, so this is the first song that, you know, whenever... Okay, we've heard the single before, but we brought this album home, and this is the first thing you hear. And I was like, all right, this is obviously different, because it is. It's a bit off kilter.
Yeah.
It's not... It sounds almost out of tune in times, yeah.
And here comes, you know, I mean, you know, like, as well, like you mentioned, how hard fucking Grohl is hitting that fucking kit in the background. You hear how
Lovely.
literally battering it. And like Kurt comes in, and he's kind of got that kind of plaintive, snarky thing, and he's got that weird thing where no matter how much he's trying to sound off, he kind of almost instinctively holds the tune anyway.
I see, right, yeah. But he is trying to sound off again. He's like semitone sometimes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, lyrically, you know, I mean, there's so much written about the lyrics in these, so much written about, you know, from Nirvana themselves. I never know how much of it's misdirection. I can only assess them in the way that I hear them. I mean, you know, like that Teenage Angster's paid off well. It always just, you know, he said it's not about the success, but it seems very on the nose. It seems like it can't really be about anything else other than
that. No, you'd have to assume, yeah, the Teenage Angster's paid off well. Now I'm bored and old. So, yeah, he's presumably saying, all right, you know, this what I'm known for is this... on the Nevermind stuff where I'm having a whine or whatever, and I'm miserable and I'm being this negative guy. That's paid off really well for me. Well, thanks everyone, but it's turning around, going, yeah, but it's weird. Now what do I do now?
Yeah, and there's more. You know, he's talking, you know, they're talking about his dad, and he's like, you know, like one of my favourite lyric deliveries on this whole album is that bit where he's just like, I know, you know, just. You know, I don't want you to know that I don't hate you anymore.
Oh, I see, right,
There's nothing...
I just don't want to talk to you, basically.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
Yeah,
and, you know, obviously, the chorus has got that kind of payoff line, which is that legendary divorce is such a bore, which kind of refers to the fact that like, the media were obsessed with the fact that his parents were divorced and portraying him as this kind of broken child of divorce.
That's why he's unhappy.
Yeah. As opposed to the fact that if you read any of his lyrics, he's obviously... fucking been massively depressed and probably has some kind of neurodiversity.
Oh, mate, I think he was diagnosed as bipolar. Yeah. So there's a lot going on that way. But you're right. The lyrics, they have to be about these things. Yes, they're not. They maybe can be thought of in some other way as well. But realistically, this is a song about where he is right now, how he's feeling, how he thinks he's being treated by the media and the outsiders, because there's stuff, you know, it's serve the servants. He's like, what am I doing? You're supposed to be my fans, and I'm now having to double think, is this what you want from me?
Yeah, and you go, well, who else are the servants? You know, like the kind of the people in the record company that's supposed to work for him.
Yeah.
You know, the people, you know, in the media that are you know, that are supposed to kind of there to service that thing. It's like, well, I'm serving everyone.
No, totally. And there's a lot in there about, you know, fucking the music critics and people, you know, hating on him in that point as well. Like, he's just had enough.
Yeah.
And he wants to be able to say something back to them. And the stuff that he's saying about, and stop fucking having a go at my wife. Stop being this absolute predatory mass of media towards Courtney Love, which there was so much talked about her at that time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, they kind of totally yokoed her. And, you know, ultimately, whatever your opinion on Courtney Love is, she was a woman in her early 20s with enormous mental health and fucking drug addiction problems.
Yeah.
And, like, to throw that level of scrutiny at people in those situations, things are really only going to ever end up one fucking way, aren't they? You know? I mean, for me, as an album opener, it's a statement album opener. It couldn't be better. And it's tuned my ear into something different straight away.
Gotcha.
And you know, I can't remember what my first listen to it was, because I can only really ever remember liking it.
Okay,
and I'm not sure if, you know, if it did take me that period of adjustment, because if it did, I've kind of lost that in time.
Oh, fair enough.
And
I have a feeling that the first time I listened to this, I mean, obviously some songs just gel instantly.
Yeah.
And I think this one, I was a little bit wary. I was like, oh, okay, right, this is different. Because having been such a fan of the previous stuff, just for it to come in and almost like sweep away and go, all right, fuck your expectations. I know what you want. I know what you casual fans want. This is not what you're getting. Whenever we talked about Meatloaf last time, the first song on that album, it almost started with some little bits of Bat Out of Hell. It was kind of going, it was beckoning the fans in, going, you're in a good place. This is comfortable.
Fine. Here you are.
Yeah, exactly. Come on in, the water's fine. But for this one, this is definitely...
There's a fucking shark!
Exactly, mate. Like you said, it's a statement one where you're going, all right, this is not part 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm listening to heavier music by this time.
Right.
Then I when I listened to Nevermind, I was listening to Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
By the time I've come to this, I'm listening to Helmet. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, okay, absolutely.
So there is and this has definitely got some of that Amphetamine Reptile, that some of that, some of that Jesus Lizard. Obviously, by that time they'd done the split single with Jesus Lizard, and it's got some of that stuff. So I guess it was kind of bringing some of the stuff that I was listening to into it as well. So I guess I'm feeling a bit more okay. I almost had more reference points for this album going into it than I did for Nevermind when I first heard it. Because Nevermind, when I first heard it, sounded almost revolutionary.
Right, sure.
Because it wasn't Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. And in terms of that, then, you must have, whenever you listen to this and you hear other bands that you are listening to at that time, that Kurt is going, all right, I'm also a fan of this. That must have been great for you because you're like, oh, this is still my band then. I'm not going to have to put this on the back burner.
The thing is as well, man, you got to remember that in my little group of friends, right, we were coming from different angles. Like we had like my friend Ian who was really into the kind of that American art rock kind of thing, stuff driven by Jane's Addiction, Rollins Band, and like kind of stuff like that, and kind of make Stu that was kind of bringing things like Primus into the equation. But then there was a core of us in the group, a core of other people in the group that were just religiously following what Kurt Cobain was doing and saying, and he'd mention bands, and then those bands would be in our circle.
Of course, yeah.
So it was
interview, and you go, "Oh, I really like such and such." You'd be like, "All right,
yeah." So it's a little bit Snake Eats Tail, like almost like he'd given us the homework to do.
I mean, Jesus Lizard is a perfect example of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay. That. That makes sense. But I think this song probably took me a few listens or, a period of time to come round to go, actually, that is great. Because I initially heard it and went, okay, that's fine. I'm not, it doesn't blow me away. But, okay, I'll live with this. So I think it is a great opening song because it does the things that it does.
Yeah.
They could have put something like Heart Shaped Box as track 1.
Yeah.
And, again, just gone, hey, see? Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
It's fine. They deliberately didn't, and I think that's a really good idea. I think it's a very good decision.
I agree. And then we go straight to track number 2, which is called Scentless Apprentice. Oh, listen to that.
Oh, mate.
Bang. This is so fucking taut, man.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And again, I remember thinking, all right, this is what I want.
Yeah, man. This is so abrasive. Like, I just remember hearing this and being like, fuck, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. The drum intro, that guitar, that crunchy guitar. And then whenever his vocal comes in, he's really going, he's screaming.
And his lyrics, man... Most babies smell like butter. His smell smells like no other. He was born senseless and scentless.
Yeah. And the thing is, right, because we've talked so many times about me and lyrics, and I don't generally listen along to lyrics as much as you do, for example. So I haven't even investigated I hadn't thought about what the lyrics were on this. Yeah. But I did for this. And it's fucking mad. It's about a book.
Sure. But let's, before, 100%, it's about, they made a film out of it, that kind of perfume. But before you even kind of get in to what the actual meaning is, what is clear, the way that, because obviously he's basing it on a story, but the phrasing and the word choices are his own.
Sure.
And what it shows more than anything is it's just a fucking someone with a kind of sense of humour and a sense, because even though it's being delivered in the way it is, and even though it's on a serious subject, there is a sense of fun in the wordplay.
Okay, right.
Like that. He was born senseless and scentless. He was born a scentless apprentice. That's such a beautiful, fun, kind of.
He does like playing with words.
Yeah,
absolutely. Definitely does.
And you kind of people, lose that, and this is, This is such an angsty album in so many ways, such a heavy, brutal album with such dark themes in it, that it is, you kind of forget how fucking funny Kurt Cobain was.
Right, sure, yeah. And also, in terms of just the lyrics in general on this album, they are different. Whenever they recorded Bleach, that was all very, that was angry young man. Whenever they recorded Nevermind, and we talked about this a bit whenever we did our episode, a lot of that was kind of stuff from journals he had kept and poems he'd written, and he did some of the bits where, cutting up lines and just throwing them down and seeing what happened. So it was a bit more artsy in that way. Yeah. This one, a lot of the songs are deliberately, I want to make a point. I want to say this in this song. It's a personal thing. But then he's also got a couple like this where he went, okay, this is about a book I read, which is fucking brilliant. I'm going to sing about this. Yeah. But it sounds brilliant. It sounds so good. This is proper, you can shout along to this in a club.
I mean, look, it's unrelenting. It batters you from start to finish. Yeah. When it drops into these like, it kicks you hard in the chest, man. Yeah. I say it's inspired by, that book Perfume. Yeah. And that's a great thing about it. It's like it's a guy that was consuming art, taking things in and then kind of just throwing it back out, taking what he took and throwing it back. Yep. I think this is fucking perfection. I love this.
This is brilliant.
I love it so much.
Okay, here's a question. Before doing this for the podcast, listening to it for the podcast, when was the last time you listened to this album in full?
I mean, I don't know. I'd like to say it wasn't that long ago. I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but the reason I bought a vinyl record player a few years back was specifically to listen to albums.
Sure.
And like since my daughter's been born, I've taken down my speaker set because I've got big heavy speakers.
Oh right,
okay.
Can
fucking pull over. And so I haven't. My record player's not set up, so I'm not listening. I mean, I bought this on vinyl. So I'm not listening to albums in the same way that I used to. I'm more of a playlist guy.
Oh, I absolutely am. Yeah.
And I keep being like, I fucking need to get back into more albums, but it's time and being a grown-up.
Oh, it's lovely time. The amount of stuff that we have to listen for this, when you're listening to a Simply Red album 8 times in a week because you're going to do something, you don't have time to listen to lots of other albums sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's like I met up with. I met up with Stephen Hill when we went to the Deftones gig. And, and I mentioned a few albums to me, and I was just, in the back of my mind, I was just thinking, I fucking could have listened to that instead of like the 8th listen to fucking Cliff Richard. But
indeed.
But then we wouldn't have this art.
Exactly.
Because that's like Kurt Cobain listened to his art and put it out there. And that is very much what I'm doing. The voice of my generation.
Uh-huh. I had not listened to this album in full in a good long time. In my head, I'm like, I know this straight through. I know this A to B. Every single bit of it, no problems. But I did quite often find when I was listening through that there would be a song when I'd forgotten this bit of this, or I'd forgotten this was on here, and this was one of the ones I went, oh fuck! As soon as it started, of course, I'm like, oh shit, this one. But I've not heard this in a couple of years.
Oh, I love this. This has always been an album highlight for me.
Right,
this has always been like if you were like, what are your favourite songs on this? This would be. One of the first ones I came up with.
I see.
But I did have a couple of those moments on here when I was like, where I kind of remember it in context of the album, but I couldn't remember where the song was.
Right.
And the funny thing is, I think that actually holds true of this album. There are some songs on here where I'm like, it's fine as a song, but actually without a few of the moments within that song, the album isn't the same.
Okay.
So, whereas if you've got an album of singles, like, for example, Rumours by Fleetwood Mac.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And you're like, that's remarkable because each one of those songs in its own right is remarkable.
Is a worldwide hit, yeah.
But you could listen to that as a greatest hits, or you could, it's
Thriller.
Yeah, exactly. There are songs on there you're like, you know what, you probably leave it. And it wouldn't be the same. But this, I don't think you can lose any of the songs without changing the tone of the album.
Yeah, you're right. Losing anything would definitely change the overview. Yeah. Obviously, we're talking from a point of view of having listened to this a lot over the past 30 years, and so we're very used to how it runs. But I think, if you took, 2 of the more abrasive songs out or 2 of the slower ones out, it would change the whole face of it.
But do you know what? Like, it's even songs where I'm like, if this album didn't have that moment in it, it wouldn't be the same album. Like, just stupid little. I mentioned earlier that little bit of vocal delivery, that thing about his dad.
Sure. Yeah.
There's just something about that stands out to me. And there's bits in other. Well, I'll get to them as we go through. But yeah. Anyway, love this song.
The only other thing I've got about this one is that this is the only song on the album that's got writing credits for all three of the band.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently, I think it was based off a guitar riff that Grohl came up with, and so then it became a sort of a jam, and Chris Novoselic also had input into this one. Yeah. All the rest of the songs on here are just Kurt Cobain. This is the one that's all three.
Cool. All right, well, let's do track 3. This is Heart-Shaped Box.
Okay.
Big lead single.
Exactly. This was the first taster that any of us really had of this new album.
And you can hear already, this is a glossier mix.
Well, totally.
This is the track where this isn't a Steve Albini mix.
No, this is one of the ones where, whether it was the band or whether it was the record company, said there's more. We can bring something more out of this, or we can tamp something down in it, and they got Scott Litt in to remix it.
And I'll be honest with you, I like the punk rock purist in me, and the massive fan of Steve Albini in me.
Yeah.
I went back because obviously this quite easily available now. That
the deluxe version of this has got.
And I listened to it a load of times, and I was trying to have the argument with myself whether it would have been better, left or not. And I don't know. It's impossible to divorce. I've lived with this version for so
this is
long.
The one you know, yeah.
And I know it's kind of sucking the corporate cock a little bit more, maybe.
Sure.
But I do prefer this version.
Oh, yeah, but this is more MTV friendly and all that sort of business. But I think this is fucking glorious.
Yeah.
This is like classic Nirvana. They've got the quiet, loud, all that sort of stuff. I mean, the riff in it is beautiful.
This is many people's favourite Nirvana song.
Right, sure. Yeah.
It's one of my favourite Nirvana songs.
It's wonderful.
I mean, it's great.
Absolutely wonderful.
It's ostensibly, to all intents and purposes, about Courtney Love's vagina.
Apparently so. Well, I mean, she's claimed that.
Yeah,
I think she's also.
She also claimed that she invented the raccoon. But whatever it is. You can't. No one can deny that. Throw down your umbilical noose so I can climb right back is one of the greatest fucking lyrics.
Brilliant.
Certainly, I would say one of the best lyrics to ever be on a number 1 album.
And absolutely. And this was a number 5 single when it came out as well. But the other lyrics and stuff like it is. I've been locked inside your heart-shaped box for weeks, and whether that is about Courtney Love's Fanny or whether that is about being locked inside, I take it as. All right, someone that you're with is kind of more emphatically into you than you are into them, but you don't want to hurt them, so you're like, I can't just say let's leave this, or I can't get out of it. It's like, I'm trapped inside this relationship box.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if it's that. It's yes, I think that's part of it, but I've always kind of read it because it's got that magnet tar pit trap, that thing where it's this enticing, comfortable thing that you love, but you're ultimately aware might not be in your best interests.
Right, and no matter how much, if you even try and get away, you're like, actually, I'll just come back.
And and the fact, the use of the word tar in there as well, you're like, I mean, you've got a fucking heroin association.
Of course. You've got Courtney Love's vagina.
Yeah, exactly, which is Atari. So Atari STI.
Hey.
Anyway, no, I'm not going to get into fucking Courtney Love bashing in this fucking podcast. No.
We'll leave that.
But look, man.
The other lyric, the big one, is I wish I could eat your cancer when you turn black.
Yeah.
Which, one of the common things you will read about that is it's just such a weird and bizarre way to say I love you.
Yeah.
And I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
But to say that I'll take this suffering, I wish I could eat your cancer. Yeah. Fucking hell, man.
But it's also, that's also, there's something in this relationship. Like, there's moments of fucking beauty in this relationship. But there's this thing, you turn black. Maybe that's an addiction thing. Maybe there's this side of this fucking personality, and I wish I could fucking eat it. I wish I could take this away from you.
Yeah.
And then this thing would be perfect. But this has always felt like, to me, like a very aware dissection of a doomed relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
That's I mean, who knows? Cleverer minds than I have fucking put their head to it. But that's. A song speaks to you in a certain way, and you kind of get your own opinion of what it's about. And
sure.
Maybe it doesn't hold up to scrutiny when you kind of put it against, but that's always the imagery I've had. Yeah, I mean, look, it's fragile and it's clever and it's powerful and it's got these hooks in it that most mainstream writers would just fucking pray they could write.
Mate.
And even
it's
when,
so catchy.
You know, when he's on the fucking tip trying to do the antithesis of his commercial record. He's got, track on his album called Radio Friendly Unit Shifter.
Yeah.
They're absolutely not trying to, but he cannot fucking help it. He just communicates so well. There's something that he did that he just spoke to other people,
Yeah, he's just written this catchy banger.
Yeah, it's like a little velvet glove stuffed with razor blades I've written here.
Lovely.
Like a prick.
Lovely.
But for me, it's almost a perfect song. It's heartbreakingly good. It feels like it kind of connects on like just some kind of subliminal level. So where almost you're predetermined, like there's a fucking pheromone in the air where I have to like it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's that.
Well, there for this one, and again, I assume this is probably why they chose it as the first single as well. There are lots of bits of this that remind you of Nevermind, era Nirvana. Hey, wait, that's very reminiscent of stuff there. It's got the cleaner sound to it that they had on that, so it definitely makes you think, oh right, yeah, this band. I remember how good this is. But like you say, then the lyrics, it fucking is a kick. It takes your legs on.
But the thing is, it's it's kind of almost night and day. It's got aspects that remind you of Nevermind, but I don't think there is as complete a piece of songwriting on Nevermind as this song. This is one of those songs more than anything, and that makes me wonder what else he would have done.
Oh, I got moments of like the exact same thought throughout this. You go, oh, this is a direction I wish I'd seen more of, or this feel or something like that. Yeah,
I love it, and this was a problem when I had this record because I didn't have the single Heart Shaped Box.
Yeah.
So the first time I loved Heart Shaped Box, and I could, back then you could hear it in a club, you could hear it.
Sure.
On MTV when it was played, you might catch it on the radio. But so this is the first time I had this song. Mm-hmm. So because I love this song so much, there's always that urge to skip forward 2 tracks and just listen to that one.
Oh, I see. Right, getting straight to it.
And then that one's played and the rest of the album plays. So I think I actually neglected the start of this album for quite a bit when it kicked off.
Interesting.
I was like, that definitely sounds right. That sounds like something
maybe
I would have done.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Just a little bit of trivia. This was the last song that Kurt Cobain performed live with Nirvana.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Their last gig on March the 1st, 1994. In Munich, in Germany. This was the song they finished on. So this was the last song that they played ever as a band.
Shit.
Yeah. It's a good one to go out on, but a fucking shame.
Who was the video? Is it Milos Forman, the video? Or who was the video?
Oh, no. Wasn't it Corbin? Wasn't it Anton Corbin?
Yeah, Anton Corbin. Yeah. I've just had a hello, balls. Hope all is well. Please, could you bring the cat litter in from the car? Needs changing real bad.
Wow.
Welcome.
Okay.
Well, reality coming. That's my wife Jenny. She said to say hello to everyone and thanks for the nice feedback.
Oh, bless her.
From last week.
Yeah, no, that was a great episode that we had with her.
Yeah. So now track 4 is the somewhat contentiously at the time.
Somewhat.
Yeah, Rape Me. I remember there being a lot of furore around this.
Oh, there absolutely was. Yeah. Speaking of things that remind you of Nevermind.
Yeah, exactly. It's a teen spirit. Yeah.
It's that's the teen spirit intro.
But this is kind of downbeat and repetitive. You got like the epitome of ultra angsty lyrics on this one.
Sure. Yeah, and well, also it's a deliberate thing, I think, that he's made it sound like Teen Spirit, but he's also made it the most controversial lyrically because he's just saying "rape me" over and over. So he's like, "Oh yeah, here's a song that you're all gonna like, but guess what? This is what I'm saying." Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I mean, like if you listen to that drum fill and the sound on that, there's no mistaking that it's trying to.
Oh, it's emulating.
And it's obviously. It was quite controversial, I mean, fucking imagine trying to do it now, but a man talking about like what is essentially such a fucking potent issue that affects mainly women.
Of course.
Men's rights activists, don't tell me that fucking.
No.
Yes, I know. I've read the statistics, but it's not the fucking same, man.
Yeah, he did. He got an awful lot of shit for naming a song "Rape Me" and then saying "Rape Me" throughout the song.
Yeah.
But. He was even back then. He was known as a feminist ally, and he'd written songs like "Polly" about rape from the point of view of a victim, and it was an anti-rape song in the same way that this is as well.
Yeah, and I think the criticism that was levelled at him was that it was heavy-handed and ill-considered and triggering and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But It's weird because you view it through a kind of your middle-aged lens,
Right.
And it does feel a little juvenile,
Sure.
right? But it does also tap into those kind of utterly bleak feelings of depression. It taps into it in a really... I think about how much I related to this song when it came out, and just that feeling of just like, oh, the world's going to fuck me.
Oh, okay, right. I mean, I'm pretty sure, and this is me looking back 30 years as well, and I'm not sure, but I think that I was a bit snobby about this one at the time, and I was like, oh, right, he's doing Teen Spirit again, and he's been deliberately controversial, saying these things, which, whenever I look back as well, fucking hell, mate, I know the jokes I was telling when I was 18, and being deliberately controversial was my raison d'etre.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I was a little bit snobby, and it took me a while to come around to it. I never really thought about it in terms of, oh, it's okay because it's an anti-rape song. What he's saying is, oh yeah, fucking go ahead, rape me, do your worst, I'm going to come back and I'm going to fuck you up. So I never even thought of it as that, which is what he says it is. But I did come round to it because I was eventually like, oh, this is just really fucking catchy.
The thing why I think I gave him a pass, one was probably because I was young and didn't possibly understand the nuance of it. But two, because he sounds like he's in so much fucking pain.
Oh, mate, this
he just
one
sounds fucking...
By the end of this song, he's screaming.
Yeah, it's like, oh, dude sounds like he means it. This is the thing that, I don't know, I kind of have a problem with modern culture with, in general, we want to pick out an issue and eviscerate someone on the specifics wording of something out of context without looking at the bigger picture of everything else they've done. That's not to say, you've done loads of good. You do one thing, you can just get away with that.
Oh,
that's not what I'm saying.
You get a pass.
But I fucking God, let me know. I'm not trying to make the fucking council culture, but we do need to be better as people at just trying to use common sense in going, oh no, this sounds off. This doesn't sound like it's right. Rather than this person that we've liked all the time said this thing. Oh, these other people have done this thing that's wrong. So this guy must have done it too.
Right, okay.
Oh, this guy must have done this too. And it's, when you kind of create the society where the paper is so fucking dry and ready to be lit by a spark,
yeah.
There is some inevitable collateral damage to people that don't fucking deserve it. When I kind of think about art on a them and us kind of point of view, I always felt like the us were the fucking free, the people that were open-minded and thought things through, not the people that want to be outside your house with a pitchfork.
Yeah.
Maybe things have changed, and maybe I'm archaic, and maybe I'm fucking, maybe I've just been well served by life working in my favour because I'm a fucking middle-aged white guy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, this kind of brings that up, and I think to me it illustrates it a little bit. But anyway, yeah, very serious.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Got any cock jokes?
Plenty, but probably best not to, if I'm honest.
Not
right now.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, maybe I fucking miss it. I think we've just seen why perhaps I'm not the right person to be having this conversation. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I really like this.
Oh, I do. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But a lot of it is because I think it is just a really good song. I see what he's trying to do with the lyrics, and I get it as like this, a very violent imagery, but he's saying, all right, you still, no matter what you do, you won't beat me, which is fucking great. But in general, for me, what I took it as was just like a really good tune.
I mean, it is also the plot of the exploitation film I Spit on Your Grave.
Oh, totally, yeah.
But which is probably not the best grounding for that. But I don't know, man. I mean, what I will say is, on early rotations of this album, this was one of my favourites because it's so catchy.
Oh, it's so catchy, and he sounds so into it.
And it's great. But I think there's so much more on this album that now it's...
Right.
Now I wouldn't put this in probably top 4 tracks on the record.
In the same way as Teen Spirit is instantly catchy, but you listen to Nevermind and you're like, oh, actually, Something in the Way is much better. Or something like that. Yeah, that is a lot of surface brilliance, but you don't have to dig very deep with it at all.
Much like my bogies.
Just there.
Just there, right. Yeah, do you want to see one?
No.
Okay, let's do the albums.
Indeed. Okay, so the week that I'm looking at, is the week of the 19th to 25th of September, which is the week that In Utero was number one. We will also look at some albums that were released the following week, because that's, like I say, whenever Meatloaf went back to number one. So we've got a couple of weeks we can talk about. But the top 10 this week, and I mean, number 10, Kenny Thomas with Wait For Me.
I mean, I won't.
No, absolutely not. I remember him being a thing, but it was like one of the worst ideas that a record executive had at that point. Really bad. Number 9 is Mike Oldfield with Elements, which is a best of.
Yeah, I mean, not for me. But
no, I think if you want to hear our views on Mike Oldfield, listen to our Mike Oldfield episode. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Number 8 is Mariah Carey's Music Box, which we've done. Number 7 is UB40's Promises and Lies, which we have done. And then number 6, 5, and 4 are Prince with the Hits 2, the Hits 1, and the Hits stroke the B-sides.
Yeah, I mean, literally one of the greatest hits albums ever produced.
Well, 3 of them, it turns out. Yeah. They were all released separately, I guess, so that they could all chart separately.
I've got them as a dual case CD.
Like a box set.
Yeah.
I see. Well, yeah, so 3 of the top 10 are Prince greatest hits albums.
I mean, literally, if you told me I could only have 5 records from my record collection for the rest of my life, that would be one of them.
Wow, okay.
And it might be. I mean, and if they said, "Oh no, that's 3," I'd be like, "Yeah, fair enough."
Okay.
Give me that and a couple of tour records.
And so
I'll be fine.
because I'm guessing, right, you got the Hits 1, you got Hits 2, and then you got Hits stroke the B-sides.
Yeah.
So Hits 1 is presumably early period, or is it the biggest hits and then Hits 2?
Off the top of my head, because whenever I've listened to it in recent years, I've listened to it on Spotify rather than on CD. I can't remember. I don't think it is chronological.
Oh, I see.
Let me just see.
Well, in that case, I do not understand the placings, because I understand that the Hits 2 is one place lower than the Hits 1. I get that.
Yeah.
Because either it's the early classic period Prince, followed by later, or it's the biggest hits, followed by the lesser hits. But I then don't understand why above both of those is the one that's called the Hits stroke the B-sides. Because surely that's the one where you're going, oh, well, yeah, that's album number 3.
I think
Pass.
Hits the B-sides, I think had unreleased stuff on it.
Oh, so collectors were more fervent. That would make sense. Prince fans are going to go ape shit for that sort of business. And still do. Okay. Well, that's number 6, 5, and 4. Number 3 is Paul Weller's Wildwood, which we talked about last week a little bit. And number 2 is Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell 2, Back Into Hell, which was our last episode, and it's done actually really well. We got a lot of really nice feedback on that from everyone, and quite a few people saying, "Oh, mate, Dave's wife was brilliant on that." So
actually, let's not big her up too much.
Right, don't want to get a big head, man.
She's fucking great. She's
it was great, but yeah, let's not praise her over us too much. But okay, here's a couple of more albums that were released in the 2 weeks of the end of September. Curve released Cuckoo, got to number 23, and I remember enjoying Curve quite a lot back then. They had a very sort of distinct sound. They were this dark, moody, a little bit dance orientated at times. They had the kind of indie drum beat behind them. But it was
I saw Curve maybe 96 or something like that.
Okay, sure.
When it kind of came back.
I think they were going a little bit more breakbeat at that point as well, because big beat was a thing, and they incorporated more dance elements into them at that point. But yeah, this is an earlier one than that, because they started off a little bit sort of shoegazy. Yeah. But then had some.
They're one of those bands that the goths always fucking loved.
Oh, totally. The Cure, speaking of goths, released an album called Show, which was a live album, got to number 29.
Nice.
The Revolting Cocks released Linger Fickin' Good, which actually got to number 39. That was a top 40 album.
Fucking hell, man.
What's going on there? I don't understand that.
I love a bit of Al, man.
Oh, sure, but it's just mental that got into top 40.
Yeah.
I wonder, did they have to read that out on the Radio 1 album rundown?
I don't know.
Mr. Big got to number 61 with Bump Ahead, which I don't remember at all. The Melvins released Houdini.
Oh, that was the biggest record.
One of the, I think that was. I've got a note that was their 5th album, and it's 93.
They put 3 albums out on Atlantic, didn't they? Which were like their kind of commercial records, and then everything else has basically been on other labels.
Right. I see. Well, this was September 93.
Houdini, Stag, and something else. I can't remember what the other one is.
Will get told in the comments, I'm sure. Bad Religion released Recipe for Hate.
Great record.
Which was their 7th album at this point. And again, I don't remember them. I remember them in 93, but I don't remember that being their 7th album. I don't remember really knowing them at all before.
The thing is, they were just existing in that underground,
Yeah.
If you were watching skate videos, you would be hearing.
I see.
You would be hearing Bad Religion.
I see. KRS-One released Return of the Boom Bap.
Return of the Boom Bap is not a bad album.
93.
It's got some good stuff on it.
Yeah,
it's got Sound of the Police on it.
I think it is. I think that's the era.
And has it got I'm a blunt kid and smoke 10 good that one? I'm
not sure.
The one that was where it's the analogy is he's a joint and he's being passed around all these different rappers that he likes.
Oh right, no, I don't know.
I don't know. Have a look.
It might be on that.
I can't remember. It might be. It's either on that or I Got Next. But hang on a minute.
Okay.
Let me just check that just for fact check it
Sure.
for the fucking podcast. Yeah, I Can't Wake Up.
Is that what it is?
It's a really fucking silly song.
Okay.
He's dreaming that he's a joint, basically a blunt that's being passed around all of his fucking rappers that he's friends. So it's his way of like name checking all of his rapper friends. Yeah.
And what's it called again?
It's called I Can't Wake Up.
Can't Wake Up. All right, fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, look, this was at that period actually where it kind of felt like if you were a hip hop head, it felt like common knowledge to you that the world hadn't recognised, and it was ridiculous that everyone fucking knew that KRS-One was the best rapper
Oh, okay,
in the
sure,
world.
yeah.
No
Wait,
one
no
was
matter how many
better
times he told you, because
Yeah.
he did said a lot.
Oh yeah, he fucking did, but he fucking was.
He was
unstoppable at this point.
Yeah.
Unstoppable, Like who could touch him? Like Buster, maybe.
In '93, but Buster was only just coming through. Yeah, Lords of the Underground and stuff. I mean, Chuck D, I suppose.
Yeah,
but not for wordplay.
No, but Chuck D's
Venom.
Chuck D was always a lyricist, and he had a particular delivery, and I loved his voice. But KRS was on a fucking different level in terms of where he placed words, where he put shit around. Anyway,
sure. Diggable Planets released "Reaching," a new refutation of time and space, which was their only album as far as I'm concerned. I know, as far as I'm concerned, that's where they peaked, isn't it?
No, Blowout Comb's the next record, and it's fucking great.
Is it? All right. But yeah, so that was 93 anyway.
Yeah, Blowout Comb's 94. Yeah, Reaching's 93.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. But again, that was the first I heard of them whenever they...
Someone with nickel bags on it and stuff.
It's the one with Cool Like That.
I fucking love both of those records. I really love Diggable Planets. But I always had them on tapes, so I've kind of never bought them. And
oh, I see.
And so, Nickelbags is on Reaching. Nickelbags is a fucking brilliant track.
Gotcha. Yeah. Fair enough. Anal Cunt released the Morbid Florist EP.
Yeah.
Which sounds brilliant, but I can pretty much imagine what it sounds like.
I mean, I can as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into Flora?
Interflora? Yeah. God's sake. And then the last one I've got is Souls of Mischief with 93 Till Infinity.
That is one of my favourite hip-hop albums
of
all time.
Yeah. Oh, you often talk about that as being just brilliant.
It's an absolutely seminal record, man. It is... it's a group of MCs, all of whom are utterly skilled at what they do, coming together in a complementary way. They were just this underrated. They're obviously part of the Hieroglyphics group. Hieroglyphics kind of carried on doing underground hip hop for a long time after that. I think the collective still exists. It can contain people like Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Sure, yeah.
But I mean, just great MCs, great MCs on top of their fucking game, man. Brilliant. Should have been much, much bigger than they were.
Right, yeah. Because they're not talked about in the same way as a lot of other bands from this time.
I guess not, yeah, and I think they should be. I mean, Jurassic... The idea that Jurassic 5 are bigger than Souls of Mischief is kind of crazy to me.
I see.
Not that I'm dissing Jurassic 5, but it's like, Souls of Mischief, Hieroglyphics, it's...
Well, it's like they were a blueprint then for that.
Yeah, exactly, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, so they are the blueprint for it.
Right,
Without one, there is not the other.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I mean, like 93 to Infinity, the track itself, gets a lot of love. It's kind of grown.
You can hear that at your classic hip-hop night still.
That's one of the best summer songs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing makes me feel more summery than that track, man.
Lovely.
What a fucking track it is.
It's a biggie. It's a proper hip-hop classic. Yeah, okay, well, there you go. That's a pretty good 2 weeks for some album releases there.
Yeah, I mean, fucking hell. What a record that is, though, 93 to Infinity.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to that on the way home.
Oh, lovely stuff. There we go. Okay, but yeah, that's all I've got. So let's get back into Nirvana. The next one is track number 5, and it's Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge on Seattle.
Low slung bass.
And this was... one of the ones that I had almost forgotten about.
Yeah. A big fucking open chord and that kind of almost half-timey beat. The interesting thing is they're playing with volume and pace as accents, aren't they?
Okay, sure,
so it's
yeah.
in this...
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, again, it's, it's very raw, very dissonant, like pretty much everything is. It's kind of about an actress.
Yes, indeed. So, I guess a recap about Frances Farmer herself. The kind of the précis of it is that she was an actress in the sort of 40s and 50s, I think it was. She was in various films. She was, during the McCarthy stuff, labelled as a communist.
Yeah.
And because of that, then she was also, people accused her of erratic behaviour, and she was sectioned against her will and put into psychiatric care. Diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, whether she had it or not, who knows, but she was in and out of hospitals for absolute years against her will, and reports came out afterwards that she was in there. She was beaten every day. She was raped. She was poisoned in her food. She was drowned in ice baths. This sort of stuff. Absolute horrendous treatment. And it just when you hear about that, and this was all basically because she was a woman. And was quite an outspoken woman, and it took no shit, and that's what happens to you. You know, and it's fucking horrible. And so, Kurt Cobain read about this. He read a book about it when he was in high school. I'm imagining related to the outsiderness of it and the anti-authority that she was.
Yeah, and I think if you've been an outsider and you've been bullied, you kind of tend to you tend to see where bullies are, and you kind of see the way the system is stacked against people. But look. On that fucking lyric there, that I miss the comfort in being sad. It's fucking great lyric, right? And the thing is, this song itself is, you've got this. Let's say you got this thing where they're kind of playing with the volume. It's the song itself kind of shapeless, but it's in that typical Nirvana way, a classic Nirvana way. It's just got this big chorus that kind of comes.
Yeah. And this guitar
it.
solo as well.
Yeah, man, and it's guitar solo. It's kind of more of an instrumental break, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
But you just gotta fucking bang it up tempo and go nuts, which is the thing they always do.
Yeah.
You can just see him, imagine how fucking mental they're going on the guitars. And this is almost what I was talking about before. This is one of those tracks that, like you say, you can forget about. It's almost an incidental track compared to some of the other stuff we've been discussing.
Yeah.
But it provides so much texture that you pull this out of the record and it's not the same fucking record.
No, I would agree with that.
It's like you hear it's kind of the tempo changes, the kind of beat in it. It's just, I don't know, it drags you in, makes you feel a certain fucking kind of way, I guess.
Sure. And from the very second this started, even though I had forgotten about it and I haven't heard this in many years, I was like, oh God, of course this song, absolutely. Yeah. And it all comes flooding back instantly. And I'd just forgotten how good it is. I think this is an amazing song. I think this is one of the best so far. It's absolutely fantastic. It does all the things I want a Nirvana song to do without it sounding like a parody, or a pastiche. It's just fucking
I agree.
Wonderful.
This is the thing, like, you're probably not going to, when I say incidental, I don't want to do it down. You're in a club DJ and you're not going to play this track.
Absolutely not. And someone says to you, I don't really know a Nirvana. What would you recommend? Yeah. It's not going to be your first port of call.
This is the deep cut, and again, I'm probably never going to pull this track out and listen to it individually.
Sure, okay, yeah.
But I'll listen to the fuck out of it in the context of this album. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and there's an allusion in here to witch trials, which there was I think there was a lyric before another one, which again I can only assume is him being protective of Courtney Love and going fucking stop it, people.
Yeah.
It's very personal, even though it's about somebody else, but it's about
how
that fits with him.
It kind of fits in with his relationship with his father and his relationship with their mother. Yeah. And then that song with all of its fucking abrasiveness goes straight into Dumb. Okay, so if you're looking for a reference point, Nirvana reference, like a Nevermind reference point, this is kind of the more poly-esque
very
song.
much so, yeah.
And this is one of my, this is one of my favourite Nirvana songs.
It's perfect.
It's fucking, I don't know, it's simple, it's folky, it's kind of got this dreamy, reflective quality to it.
Yeah.
And, like, again, there's just a moment in this where he just says Soothing Brown, then all the music drops out, and he just goes, "Wake me up."
Right.
And it just the
beautiful.
goosebumps, fucking hair on back. Yeah. It's just like, again, it's that moment. That moment isn't the album. It's not the same album.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
This feels like a drug song, doesn't it?
I mean, it's got the feel of it, but I think it's more about. I mean, again, having just looked into it because of this, it seems to be about people who Cobain is almost jealous of them. That they can happily not worry about the things he's worried about all the time, about state of the world or bigger issues, or just himself and how he's going to face the next day. They'll just watch MTV, drink a beer, do their job, and be happy because they're dumb.
Yeah.
But they're not stupid, they're just dumb. They don't give a shit.
Sure. But also, if you go back, and that's obviously that's the kind of the story they've told, right? And I think absolutely it tells that story on one level, but let's go into the lyrics of it, right? We can hang out on I got something, I can hang out on clouds, all of this stuff, right? He's talking about, I want to be like these people that are dumb. How do I make myself dumb?
Yeah.
How do I remove myself?
Exactly.
And
kill that.
And that to me is the drugs. It's the heroin analogy. It's the weed. And it's those things that are, the classic removal for people with overactive fucking brains or neurodiverse brains that work in a different way. They're the things you do to self-medicate to take yourself out of that situation.
Yeah.
And that to me, that's where, that kind of soothing burn, wake me up. The two stories kind of run in parallel, where it's like, I'm jealous of these people, but here's my life fucking superimposed. It's like, that guy's never going to be as on the nose in an interview as going, that's fucking about drugs.
Oh, no, fair enough, yeah.
To me, whether that's, whether you just apply that yourself over to it, it's just like everything makes sense in that context. Maybe it's got nothing to do with it. Maybe that's none of the intention of where.
Oh, no, I agree that is in there as well. I think those are the people he's written it about. And he's jealous of the mindset, and he wishes he could do that because he cannot make himself happy. He's not ever been happy that he can remember.
Oh, mate, I felt like that. My fucking heart, as I got fucking diagnosed ADHD in 42.
Yeah,
and I've fucked off my entire life going, what the fuck is wrong with me? Well, I'm not like everybody else.
Sure,
and that in itself was kind of freeing. But it also comes with some territory where you're like, fuck, this isn't going away. This isn't going to get fixed.
Right, I see.
Someday. Yeah. I think it's for those. I love this song so much. It's so fucking tender that it pretty much rips my heart up every time I hear this song.
That's the thing, because yes, we're talking about the lyrics and the meaning behind it, and there's a lot to take from that. But even if this was an instrumental, you'd be like, oh, this is just a beautiful piece of music.
Motherfucker could be singing in Welsh. Do you know
totally.
What I mean?
Yeah. And again, I don't know if you're the same. If someone says to me, "Oh, Dumb by Nirvana," in my head, I will pretty much always hear the unplugged version now.
Yeah,
that's the one I default to.
It is. I don't think it's the biggest example of that. I think that's elsewhere on this record.
Absolutely, yeah.
It is. But yeah, I know what you mean. But the weird thing is, I mean, I didn't know the lyrics to this song for ages. I didn't read into it or anything like that. I just knew how the song made. I mean, I thought the lyric was African Doll for quite a while.
Amazing.
Yeah, African Doll.
Now I do too.
Yeah.
Right
there you go. Because I wasn't reading the lyric sheet or whatever. I was just listening to the song. But yeah, it's always made me feel a certain kind of way.
Oh well, it's the melancholy. It's just that's what it is. Totally. But also his voice on this, it shows how beautiful a voice he has when he's not doing his strange screaming stuff. He's just got this sweet, smooth voice, which fits this sort of music beautifully as well. Yeah, man. This is absolutely fantastic. And this was written more at the time of Nevermind. It wasn't obviously recorded until a little bit later, but they were playing this live in 91, 92. I would have seen them play this live at the Reading show in 92. I don't remember because I was a bit drunk, but it's in the DVD of it, so they were playing it on the shows.
Sure.
And I can see that it almost fits with... You look at About a Girl, and you look at Polly, and he's been doing this for a while. It's not a new thing that he's coming out with. But I can see that it's something he's got with him at all times, is he can just reach into his pocket and go, all right, now I've got this one as well. Fuck it, I'll do Sentenced Apprentice, and I'll do Serve the Servants, but I'm still doing this as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
Next track is called Very Ape.
Right.
And obviously this one's kind of taken on a different memory now, isn't it?
Well, yes, indeed. Yeah, AKA The one that Prodigy sampled, yeah, indeed. But I didn't know that for fucking years. So, like, literally till about probably the mid 2000s.
Oh, I knew it.
I didn't.
I knew that.
Place it.
Soon.
Did you? I didn't place it one bit.
Which is anyway.
But yeah, it's Voodoo People anyway.
Yeah. This is. If you were looking for one of the most typically Nirvana songs on the record,
right,
you'd probably point at this one, wouldn't you?
Would you? No, I don't think I would. Again, this to me sounded more disjointed and wonky.
Oh, that's interesting.
Than the stuff I was used to.
Okay, I mean, I guess I can see it. To me, kind of structurally, it's kind of.
And when it gets to the chorus, when this is coming up, you know, this. Yes, that bit for sure.
But yeah, again, you know, like this one, I would say this isn't one of my favourite tracks on this record.
Right.
But at the same time, back into what I'm saying, the bit at the end where he's just fucking screaming out of the sky. It's just like it's like one of the big moments on this record.
I see. Okay.
And like, you know, that bit to me is iconic. The rest of the song is, you know, I like it. There's bits in it that I like. You know, I have less to say about it than other songs on this record.
Right,
it speaks to me less. But this bit,
I think this is brilliant. And again, because I had, whenever someone says, "Oh, you know, Very Ape," I just go, "Oh, the one with the Prodigy." Well, it's not even a sample. Prodigy recreated it, presumably to avoid fees. But coming back to it, I was like, "Oh, I fucking love this song," because it's under 2 minutes. It's just smack you in the face. Oh, again. I think it's just brilliant. And maybe because I didn't get into it as quickly as some of the other ones, I thought it was a bit more weird. Perhaps that is one of the reasons that I'm now going, oh, yeah, actually, I fucking love this, because it took me more work to there was more in there for me to ferret out. Not that it's 2 minutes, there's not much to ferret out, but it took a bit longer to get into my brain.
I can understand that.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking love it anyway.
Cool.
We're at track number 8. Which is Milk It.
Yeah.
And this is even more kind of weird start. This is very off-kilter. It sounds like someone's a bit woozy and staggering around.
It certainly does.
But then this shit happens. Now the fucking buzzsaw guitars are BAM!
Damn.
That drum. I'd forgotten again how good this is.
Yeah, this is fucking. This is like that kind of start. This sounds got a bit of a helmet feel to it.
Sure, really does. And because, as I said earlier, I don't really listen to lyrics.
And here we are, we're almost in Sonic Youth territory.
This is really out there, totally. I'd not even looked at lyrics before in any depth. You know, this wasn't one that I sang along to with the lyric sheet in my hand when I bought it. And so I was like, what the fuck is this all about? It is really weird stuff, this one. The fact that the chorus is doll steak test meat.
Mate,
like, brilliant.
Mate, this is a number 1 record.
Oh, man, that gets me.
Mate.
When the drums cut out and come back in after that.
This is just visceral, man.
So good.
This is one of the biggest bands in the world.
Yep.
And they've put this out as their fucking...
Yeah, exactly. This is their comeback.
Listen to that, man. Bright Side Suicide.
Yes.
Lost Eyesight, I'm on your side. Wing, left wing, right wing, broken wing. Lack of iron and or sleeping. Oh, fucking
amazing.
lyric.
Absolutely amazing.
And, mate, oh, my
God.
God.
Like, to hark back to something you said earlier, this is one of the ones that when I'm listening to this now, makes me go, I wish I'd heard the next one. I wish there was another one after this album that maybe this was he was do more of or go further this direction. I think this is incredible. And, you know, even though some of it is really like Sonic Youthy and weird, when he gets to the chorus, that guitar riff is a fucking killer riff. You can't get away from that. It's just a banger of a riff.
Fucking lyric, man. Her milk is my shit.
My shit is
my shit is her milk. Man.
What
it's
the
so
hell?
fucking caustic.
Yeah. It's brutal, this.
Yeah. You know, this is, as you know, we're talking about fucking anal cunt records. This is this is far more fucking actually abrasive and unpleasant than no matter how hard they tried.
And as you said, a number 1 record. This is
a
number one
album.
Yeah. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. This.
If you played this to so many people and go, this was on a number 1 record now, they'd be like, no, it wasn't.
Shut your face.
Shut your face.
Yeah. So good. Nah, this made me so happy whenever I remembered this one.
And here's the thing, right?
What's this guitar solo?
This is the thing, like, this was kind of upset. Sound like a fucking old man. This is what upsets me with a lot of contemporary heavy rock music, right? And obviously, there's so much good shit out there and funny, but so many bands just went heavier and heavier and heavier that you lost the kind of the nuance and the shade in something like this. It's like, this is unrelentingly heavy, but there's space in it for it to still feel heavy, as opposed to like fucking 5 minutes of just fucking saying double kick drum and fucking screaming. But yeah, I love this, man.
Absolutely
I love this.
Wonderful.
It's like, you know, I mean,
this is top tier on this album for me.
I'm
so good.
I mean, I'm going out on a limb and saying, you know, breaking with tradition, this is on the playlist.
I see, right? Immediately. Go on.
I mean, there's no two ways about it. Anyway,
good. So good.
And what I'd like to do is comment on what happens next, but we need to take a break. Hold that thought for a minute and check out what went on with the singles.
Do the singles. All right. Okay, so the singles, the top 10 this week looks like this. I mean, there's a few I'm going to play, and I'm not going to expect you to get them.
Sure.
You might get the band, whatever. Number 10 is this one.
Sounds like Invisible Touch.
Oh, well, I mean, if only every song did, I'd be more than happy. I mean, this isn't a band that you like.
No, it sounds very 80s.
All right, well, they started at the end of the 80s. But this is a big indie band of the time.
Okay. No, I don't know this.
No. Nah, you wouldn't know this.
No.
This is The Wonder Stuff with On the Ropes.
No,
so number 10.
That's a blind spot in my musical knowledge.
No, totally fine. And realistically as well, this was post their really big time in the indie world.
Yeah.
But this was, hey, it's a number 10 single. You can't fuck with that too much. Number 9 is Depeche Mode with the Condemnation EP, which is a new entry, but we've seen that obviously because we did the entire album. Condemnation, though, we all said whenever we did that was one of the really big songs on that. Really big. Number 8, and I don't remember this song one bit, but see if you can get who it is because it sounds like this act. It's called Life.
Hadaway.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is. It's Hadaway doing the same song again.
Yeah, I was like, it can't be something else.
Absolutely.
It's Hadaway.
It's Hadaway. I don't remember this song. What, Life?
Oh, you don't need to remember this one. You remember the other one.
Well, quite. Yeah. Oh man, but that's number 8. Yeah, passed me by entirely. Number 7 is Bitty McLean that stops. It Keeps Raining. Number 6, and we've commented before about how much of this sort of shit was in the charts.
Oh, no. Shabba Ranks?
No.
I
think they're about to say it.
Oh, Shabba and Pliers, yeah.
And it's... She Don't Let Nobody.
Yeah.
You must remember this.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah, I mean, I've... Yeah,
fucking hell.
Christ, this cod ragga phase.
There was so much of it.
So bad, man.
Prevalent. I don't know what drugs the music industry was taking, except that I can probably guess.
Yeah.
But it was just a wash for a couple of years.
It was selling, though.
Oh, it really was. That's because there was a load of middle-class white people going, yeah, man, this speaks to me.
I wonder if anyone's still listening to this.
Oh, Shaka News and Pliers played Worthing about a year ago.
Nice.
I know. It's like, A, you're still together, and B, why the fuck are you playing Worthing?
Because someone gave them some money.
Well, it's quite, yeah. So that's number 6. Number 5 is SWV Right Here. We've seen that before. Number 4, and unfortunately you're going to know this, I'm pretty sure.
So MP Pool.
Yeah.
Moving on up.
Yeah, it is. Moving on up. That's one of their big hits as well. This was everywhere on the radio at that point. I remember hearing this all over the place. Again,
that's like going testicular cancer. That's one of their big cancers.
Yeah, but that saxophone on it, boom, horrible.
It's the worst. And then I fucking Heather Small's voice.
Yeah, exactly. Horrible.
I'd rather gargle jizz.
There you are. Well, we can arrange that.
She's probably actually got that voice.
Right. So that's number 4. Number 3 is Culture Beat with Mr. Vane, which we discussed at length.
Don't play it again.
No, not at all. Number 2 is the Pet Shop Boys with Go West, which was in the charts last week, but we're going to be doing properly in a future episode. And number 1 is DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince with Boom Shake the Room. So it got to number 1 at this point.
That was a bad song.
Oh, but it was so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Against everything, I'm like, yeah. In the same way as fucking, Come Baby Come is a terrible song, K7. But you're like, it's fun.
I'd spend an afternoon with K7 rather than...
Would you? Oh, no, not at all.
I know Boom Shake the Room, that over... And I like Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff's other stuff, man.
Yeah.
Not such a fan of Will Smith's solo output.
Oh, but again... no, in general, absolutely not.
We're going to have to do Millennium, aren't we, probably?
Oh, but more than likely.
Oh, no.
More than likely. But this is it. I think there's a couple of those singles like, yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It's good. But there are a couple of them are just like, that's painful to listen to. Yeah. We'll have to deal with that at some point. All right, here you go. There's more stuff coming out in this couple of weeks. This one got to number 13, and I know that you like this one.
Oh, mate, this is Here We Go by Stack of Bow.
Fucking right it is.
I fucking love this tune.
It's so catchy. Stack of Bow.
Here we go again. Do you remember we saw Ugly Duckling and the guy who was rapping and he went, "You're rapping like Stack of Bow."
That's right, yeah. They got someone up from the crowd. Yeah. Oh, God.
I thought it was great and he got kind of dissed.
Oh, sure. Where are they from, Stack of Bow? They Denmark or
maybe
Sweden?
Norway.
One of the Nordic countries anyway. Bless them. Stack of Bow. I still remember seeing that on The Word.
Yeah,
that was good fun.
I've got the album somewhere.
I know you've got the whole thing. This one got to number 23, and I really enjoyed this at the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have something special down here at Birdland this evening. A recording for Blue Note Records.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember who it is though.
Right.
It's one of those things. It's like Brand New Heavies is the name, but it's something. What the fuck?
All right, now you're going down the wrong.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, it's us three.
Us three.
It's just
that's what it is.
us three with Cantaloupe. Yeah, Flip Fantasia, and I really enjoyed this when it came out. And it's lightweight pop rap, but I think it's just obviously it's over a sample of a classic jazz tune, but it's just really well put together. I think this really good. And this was, again, I suppose this was riding the wave of Brand New Heavies and Tingle Planets, which just seen come out. There was
Jasmine Taz.
And Guru stuff. Yeah, there's a fair bit of that around. I don't know if you're going to know this one or not, but let's put it on just in case.
I know.
This one got to number 15.
I think.
It's Deceptive at the minute.
It's like Cardigans or something like that, but it's not.
No.
What is it?
I mean, I think it's going to take a minute for his vocal to come in.
That's Bowie.
No, he'd lovely.
Oh, it's fucking.
It's called Roses in the Hospital.
Oh, fuck, it's Manic Street Preachers.
Manic Street Preachers, there you are. Yeah, exactly.
What album's this on?
This is on Gold Against the Soul. Yeah, and that's the album that I like most of theirs. I think this is quite catchy, but it's also one of their more just straightforward songs. But it's before they got into really straightforward, dull shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk. We're going to have to talk about them at some point because we're doing the album. But yeah, number 15 that one was anyway. This apparently only got to number 44.
Smashing Pumpkins. Disarm. No, it's Cherub Rock.
No,
it's fucking Rocket.
No,
What's it fucking
the
called?
big one, the really big one off the album.
Yeah. What's it? I'm always shit with fucking silent tunes. I just can't remember what the fucking song's called. I know the fucking song.
Your
man.
brain is going to burst as well.
What's it fucking called?
The one that isn't Inside by Stiltskin.
Today is the
Today.
greatest.
There you go. Exactly.
Just fucking couldn't remember the name of the song.
Today. Yeah, only got to number 44, which I'm very surprised at. Because I'm sure we saw that Cherub Rock got maybe top 20 or something.
They must have re-released that at some point or something.
Well, I don't know. But yeah, I suppose by the time this came out, the album had been out and all the fans had bought that. Maybe it wasn't such a big deal over here. Don't know. Right, this one though. This got to number 19. And I mean, you're going to know who this is straight away, but which song?
Cypress Hill.
Yes.
It's not When the Shit Goes Down.
It is When the Shit Goes Down.
Okay, there you
yes,
go.
Mate, absolutely. Big tune. Big tune. Again, just so many typical Cypress Hill bits in this. That production is unmistakable. And then, yeah, vocal-wise, it's never going to be anybody else. Number 19, top 20 single, When the Shit Goes Down. And I bought that on 12-inch.
They were a Reading headliner.
Yeah, they were. At that point, yeah, they were as well. Yeah, it was fucking massive. But I bought the 12-inch of this, and it had to have the radio edit on as well, When the Ship Goes Down. Yeah. Thanks.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Mary Whitehouse or whoever. Yeah. A couple others that I'm not going to bother playing. Well, we've got Cocteau Twins released Evangeline, so they're still going. Got number 34. Teenage Fan Club released Norman 3, got to number 50, which was kind of off their comeback album. Not so much comeback because they never made it big, but it was off the first one since their big press, the creation stuff, and it kind of left me a bit cold, that one. I enjoyed their stuff before, but then some people love Radio and Norman 3, and those songs I'm like, not really for me. But this one got to number 66. This is the last one I'm going to play, and this you'll know fucking straight away.
Yes, it's Sepultura territory.
Fucking right it is. What a song!
One of the best.
What a song! This was, obviously I was listening to, quote unquote heavy stuff in '93, but this got me in a way that I wasn't expecting.
This was fucking
absolutely brilliant.
Mind blower. This was.
Yeah. So, the drums is crazy, and whenever it breaks down, and it's just, is it Igor on the drums? Yeah, just this bit, like fucking glorious.
Such a change from what they've done up
Well,
until
that's
now
the thing,
as well.
because this was the first I'd heard of Sepultura, and then I went back and listened to a bit of Arise, and I went, no, I'm not into this as much at all. This is what I wanted.
I mean, I love Arise as well, obviously, but
Sure.
Come on, man. Oh no, man!
so
Speaks
good.
to the world, sucking your trust, trapping every word. Fucking love it.
Incredible. The amount of times that I danced like a dickhead to this in rock clubs.
Man, I've just fucking lost my shit to
Yeah,
this song
man.
so many times. I love it, man, and I know a lot of people like pure metal purists like to fucking dunk on Roots as well. But I think
whatever.
KSAD and Roots are fucking like the gold period of Sepultura for me. I mean, I do love Arise. Love a bit of Dead Embryonic Cells. What a fucking greatest fucking song that is. But yeah, I mean, I like the groovier stuff more than the thrashy stuff.
It's so much fun. Yeah. Wonderful stuff. So there you go. Load of good singles, actually, this 2-week period.
Yeah,
Top
man.
10s, the usual nonsense. Fair enough.
But we got stuff coming out left, right, and centre.
Oh, mate, there's so much things. We've had a couple of the really cool albums to talk about, and then just some of these songs that we've had are ones that were, again, dance floor fillers in the clubs I was going to. Cypress Hill, Smashing Pumpkins, Sepultura, big tunes.
Yeah.
Classic. But, right, let's do the final bits of Nirvana here.
Yeah, so we've finished, and we've come out of the insanely caustic Milk It. I mean, fuck me, wow, that song's on there. And then we go from there into Penny Royal Tea. And this is another one of those songs that, yeah, it gets downbeat, but it's so pretty that you can almost lose track of just how fucking bleak it is.
Oh my God, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, like a lovely soft drink laced with horrible acid.
Yeah.
Look, when we talk about, this isn't the definitive version of this song anymore. To me,
are you talking about the?
I think
unplugged?
the unplugged version.
Oh no, absolutely. I've got the same note. I think. Yeah,
I mean the unplugged version where it's just him on the fucking guitar.
Yeah,
that's.
And he loses his plate, or he has to detune his guitar at some point or something. Yeah, fucking wonderful.
That's perfect, man.
Yeah.
But this is just fucking excoriating, isn't it? It's just fucking that man. Listen, look at me, Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen, Afterworld, yeah.
Oh my god,
it's so raw lyrically.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know, Pennyroyal tea is a herbal tea thing that supposedly, if you drink enough of it, will cause an abortion.
Yeah.
So it's a sort of a remedy that people would use.
Look for it becoming increasingly popular
Yeah,
in
indeed.
the fucking United States. Fuck.
The farms making it.
I mean, fuck the Supreme Court, and also, you know, fuck the fact that you can't get a fucking abortion in Northern Ireland as well.
Wow, mate, we're so backwards.
It's fucking nuts, man.
We are recording this the day after the July 12th protest, or July 12th marches.
Yeah.
And it's still happening. And I'm watching clips going, that's still happening in Belfast, is it? Brilliant. Thanks for... No, that's my town you're fucking up. Idiots. Absolute idiots. But you know, this song though is gorgeous. It's beautifully done, beautifully put together. But this lyrically, it's about. It's either about wanting to kill yourself and drinking enough that you abort yourself, or it's about drinking enough to try and cleanse your body, to try and get rid of the bad thoughts or the bad things inside. You're taking something to try and overcome the negative parts of you.
Yeah, and it's also about how he and his wife were being treated. That whole idea, we're anemic royalty.
Okay.
That idea that, you know, we're being held up to this standard for fucking no reason other than we've done this.
Then I'm famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote some big tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so it's dark theme, or it's dark themes and angry themes inside this pretty song. And this was another one that was written back in like 91, I think it was, but wasn't recorded for Nevermind. I can see this one fitting on Nevermind. I can see this one in the middle of that album working well.
Sure.
Obviously, it's kept back. They've only done it at this point. But to me, this does sound like some of the songs back then.
Yeah, I guess I can hear that. Yeah. I mean, again, very much love that song. I prefer the unplugged version. It's just kind of got it's slightly rawer, and it kind of works better with that kind of slightly more plaintive delivery, I think.
Sure.
That version is only my favourite version because it exists, if you know what I mean.
Oh, no, fair enough. I mean, this is the Scotlit remix. Those are one of the ones that Scotlit did remix. You can listen to the Albini version because it's on the deluxe edition. I listened to it for this, and I think there's very few bits that are actually that different. Sure. But when it breaks into the chorus from the verse, it is much more raw. So there is that version as well. That is out there in the world. This was going to be the third and final single, but it was going to be released in April of 94, and Kurt killed himself at that point, and so it was totally shelved. It was released as a 7-inch about 2010 for Record Store Day or something. But this would have been, again, imagine this being a single that they were like, oh, we'll stick this one on the radio. Mental? Just fucking mental.
I think it'd have done well, though.
I think it would have done because it's got such a good tune and it sounds like a great Nirvana song. And there'll be a load of people who wouldn't listen to what they're actually chatting about inside it. It's a great, great tune. And probably would have been top 10. A song about an abortion drug. And hating yourself again and hating everything. Yeah. Fucking mental.
Right, so just obviously after that, they need to go for more commercials. So the next track's called Radio Friendly Unit Shifter.
Very possibly my favourite Nirvana title. Yeah. I love the fact that that's a real fuck you to the record company.
My first note is this song is just a fuck you. You got this piercing feedback that comes in. And you're about to hit this fucking downbeat that comes in.
I mean, there's like 30 seconds of this feedback before anything else happens. And this is the longest song apart from the hidden track, it's the longest song of 4:52. And it is just total, up yours, Geffen.
And the fucking gravelly fucking tone. All this, like the kind of beeping, like almost feedback. Well, I mean, it is, you know, this sounds like you've mic'd up your shitty band practice room.
Sure,
it? You know, lyrically, it's like a ADHD, neurodiverse fucking textbook. Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so different?
Right, yeah.
It's a proper fucking outsider anthem again. Like, this is the type of song that, you know, people tell you is. This is the kind of song that people expect you to grow out of
Oh, okay.
And it always spoke to me. And I'm nearly fucking 50, and the song still speaks to me.
Yeah.
So fucking much. I mean, you know, still ask those.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what is wrong with me? What is it? What I need? What do I think?
Yeah.
The chorus is that he's battling with himself.
Yeah.
Going, because again, it's back to he cannot make himself be happy.
Yeah.
He's a millionaire. He's got a wife and a daughter who he loves.
Yeah.
He's got so much talent. He's got people telling him that he's brilliant every single day, and he's not happy.
Yeah.
And so it's this railing against himself at this point. Also, I think I like the fact, whether it's on purpose or not, but I like the fact that his vocals sit kind of low in this one. It's like they're almost fighting to be heard. They're coming through a fog of everything, all the other sounds.
Yeah.
Which to me sounds like what he is.
Yeah, it's like the music represents the noise in your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the
like
struggle
and his voice is trying to cut through it and be heard.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, I mean, still though, you've still got this kind of
really catchy.
Yeah.
Exactly, this is fucking lovely.
But for me, it's the walls of sound at the end of this track, like that last couple of minutes where you're like, oh, this is why they needed Albini. Not that not like it's a light bulb moment. I've kind of figured it out.
Oh no, of course.
But it couldn't really have been anyone else, could it?
No, indeed. And the fact that they've made this song, you know, like we said, called it radio-friendly unit shifter, which is what obviously Geffen have been pushing him to.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get. Have you got a radio track for us? You got a radio track? Got something for MTV? So he's called this radio-friendly unit shifter. He's made it sound like this. He's made it the longest song on there. 30 seconds of feedback at the end. And yeah, we'll skip to, a little bit down the road here. And it's just this squalling minute-long outro of obnoxious noises, growl just pounding going on.
Yeah, this is what you'd hear at the end of the fucking set when they're smashing up their kit.
Exactly. Yeah, this is, all right, we're going to have to go, let's kick everything in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that this is on there, okay, yes, it's at track number 10. It's not like they opened with this, fine. But it's on here, and it's brilliant for it.
Yeah.
Oh, stunner this is. This is another one I was like, forgotten how good this was.
Yeah.
But perfectly straight back in. Love it. Right, but we'll bring us on to track number 11, which is the shortest song on the album. And it's Tourette's.
Yes.
Moderate rock.
Again. There's a fuck you again,
And this is just a straight up ripper.
Oh, it's incredible.
This is the stay away of this album, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You like fucking hear like Rock fucking hand muting those cymbals at the start.
Right.
And it's just like fucking he's untethered. Like 1 minute 35. And I'll be honest with you, it says more in this fucking song in 1 minute 35 than Meatloaf and Jim Steinman said in all of that out of hell.
75 minutes of that. That bit where the drums drop out, this has got that guitar, and it comes back in, I think is so perfectly done. This is probably my favourite song on the album. I love this instantly because it is, like I say, it's just so unstoppable. But that riff is 100% killer. And this was another one that I used to play in clubs just to almost see what people would do, because it's not one of the singles. It's not really one of the ones that people would know. It's track 11 on there. But I'm like, okay, let's see who's into this. And anyone who was, I was like, full respect to you.
The problem is, if you're in a big enough club, it's fucking over before the time you've got to the
That's
fucking
true.
dance floor.
Absolutely true. This is also the only song on the album which didn't have any lyrics on it on the sleeve when I bought the record. And so I had no idea what was going on. And I almost thought, because it's called Tourette's, you can only make out certain bits. And I almost was like, I wonder if this is just sounds, if he's just making sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turns out there are some words, which I don't really give a shit about. But fucking incredible song.
Amazing.
That is one of the ones that just kicks me in the face, and I wanted to do it over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's like the official second last song on the album.
So yeah, last official song on the record is All Apologies. Again, another one that's a big fucking unplugged song.
Totally. And what a way to finish.
But this is another Scott Lick mix as well.
Yeah.
So you can tell it's kind of brighter. But this is a hugely real song. This is, this is kind of for me, like, I don't know if you agree with this or not. To me, this album's got like a Beatlesy kind of psychedelia kind of edge to it. It feels like more optimistic, but that undercut of edge is always there. Got a cello on it as well.
Which is a perfect addition. You know, it works so well in there. But in the same way that Nevermind ended on Something in the Way, this is ending, and even, you know, a much less commercial album. This is the way they're doing it. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, 100% beautiful. It was you know, released as a single, as a double A side, with Rate Me, and so by default it's like the last single they released as well, which is in itself heartbreaking and gorgeous, all that stuff. But yeah, this one as an outro for an album, the official song, fucking gorgeous. But this was also written in 1990.
Yeah.
This was written in the kind of the Nevermind sessions, but was left. How can you leave a song like this on the side?
I don't know, man.
Incredible. This does, if you can tell that the production is a Scotland one, really, because it's a bit more full. It's a bit more, not shiny, that's the wrong word, but there's more to it. It's fleshed out. It's not as harsh.
Yeah.
I just can't say enough good things about it, though. The whole thing about what else can I do? What do you want from me? What can I give you that I haven't already given? But then there's almost the thing about him going, it's like, do you want what? I'm all apologies. What do you want? All apologies? But he's like, actually, no, I'm not giving any more. I'm done. I am done. I'm going to look after me and mine.
I'm kind of finding it a little bit difficult to almost talk about this song because I'm too busy listening to it.
I see, right.
I love this song, man. I love this song. I've always loved this song.
Yeah. When it breaks into this solo as well.
Yeah.
Fucking wonderful. And then, because the whole like extended outro is Cobain and Grohl duetting on the just all in all is all we are, over and over and over, and it works so well. Thing of beauty.
It has got an optimism that so much of their stuff doesn't have.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what a song.
Oh, sorry. Both Q and NME have placed this at the top of their best Nirvana songs lists.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's mine, but it is a fucking fantastic song.
Oh, it's incredible. And yeah, it's like to just fade out on this perfection. Yeah. Big fan. Big fan. And again, it was straight away. I was like, this is wonderful. And then I think it was only like the next month or something that the Unplugged album or the Unplugged show was on MTV. Maybe a couple of months later, and that became the big version of it. And that was the video that they played whenever they released it as a single in December. But it was hammered in so much.
I mean, that's the thing. I think I prefer the album version of this song.
Okay.
To the Unplugged version. I think I prefer it. Whereas Penny Royalty, I prefer.
You go Unplugged on that.
Yeah, but
fair enough.
That's just personal choice. But wow,
beautiful.
So now that would be the. So you bought this on vinyl.
Yes, indeed.
So this would be the end of your journey.
That's all I had. That was it. Done.
I bought this on CD. So we had the bonus track. We'll talk about it because it was officially released.
Sure.
Bonus track was called "Gallons of Rubbing Alcohol
Flow Through the Strip."
Flow Through the Strip. And yeah, you say it's the longest track on the record. Let's stick it on.
And also, it came after like 20 minutes of silence. It's one of those hidden tracks. To kind of fool you.
I mean, I never really took this seriously as a track, I think, at the time.
Sure.
It felt like a demo, and, actually, it is a demo.
Yeah, indeed.
So, it's kind of them fucking around, but it's kind of a good glimpse behind the curtains of what they're doing.
Sure, okay, like, just, it sounds like a jam, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I've been in this room. I mean, not with this level of talent.
Right, but yeah, this is what a band will do left to their own devices. Yeah. I have hardly heard this at all. I've heard it a couple of times on whatever box sets that I've had in the past. And this is totally fine. It is what it is. It's not a song on the album. It's an addition. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
They've chucked it on.
Exactly.
It's
that.
fine.
It's a DVD extra, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
The deleted scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine. It's unexceptional. It's
but it's not meant to be part of the album.
Sure.
I don't think it's supposed to be judged in comparison.
And
to
if
the
you
rest.
disagree with that, let us know. But anyway, so I don't. To be honest with you, I don't want to spend too much time on this track because I haven't got that much to say about it.
No.
But in terms of the album as a whole, obviously it's not the smash hit after smash hit of Nevermind. You haven't got like fucking 6 singles off of this. You don't have, kind of Come As You Are.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Lithium,
Blah, blah, blah.
you don't have all
Even
of those songs.
Drain You, yeah.
I think what you have is enough evidence that had he wanted to do that, he had the gears for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the lack of writing commercial hits was due to not having the ability. It was due to not having the inclination.
Yeah, no, he deliberately wanted to do something away from what that was.
And the thing is, this album, it's imperfections that kind of make it almost perfect.
Right.
It's so fucking ugly and brutal and abrasive. It's like it's disfigured itself.
Yeah.
But that's a choice.
Definitely.
But it doesn't matter what you do to it, you can't kind of mask the beauty. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
Exactly.
It's all in there.
It does. It comes through even in the kind of the harshest songs. There's just a riff that is like, oh, that is class.
Yeah, man. This to me, I like Bleach enough. As we discussed on the Nirvana one, on the Nevermind one, I love Nevermind. I very rarely return to it, even after the podcast episode. But this to me is their most complete and perfect work. It's also the thing that hints the most that they had so many other places to go, which makes it fucking
So it's such a tragedy. Absolutely is.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is a generational record, like a record that kind of almost shouldn't exist, like a glitch in the Matrix. It almost like a perfect confluence of things came together that allowed this fucking record to exist in the way that it does.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a genuine outsider record. It says more about the kind of people that I kind of want to associate myself with than most other records do. And
right. Okay.
I just think it's just genuinely fucking brilliant from start to finish.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad song on there at all. No. I think this is a solid 10 out of 10. Every single song is fucking brilliant. Some better than others, some catchier than others, but in their own way, in very different ways. I think this is a just genius record. I do.
Yeah, I think this is a fucking incredible record.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to me, it stood the test of time. It's amazing that this was as big as it was.
I think a lot of Twitter agrees with us because I only put the thing out today saying what is your memories, and we had a load of people get back to us on this one. And in terms of just generational stuff, one of the first ones, Stephen McDade got back to us and said that his 15-year-old daughter bought it for herself on vinyl literally today. So it's playing in their gaff right now. And so, 30 years on, a 15-year-old is discovering this record, which is wonderful.
Amazing. I mean the thing about this record, the thing that makes me laugh about this as well is, you can go into Sainsbury's and buy this record on vinyl. That's where I bought mine.
Right.
Because it was fucking cheap.
There you go.
And it's like, this is not a record you should be able to buy in Sainsbury's.
Just on a whim with your bread and eggs.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't go in and buy fucking Neurosis through Silver and Black,
No.
And this is as subversive as that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We had Cliff, our mate Cliff, who runs the Carolina Brunswick in Brighton. He said this was his first CD as opposed to LP or tape that he ever bought. He's always preferred Bleach to Nevermind, so Albini's raw production was very welcome. He says, I knew every lyric and would sing the whole album in my head to kill time when I'd finished an exam 40 minutes early. A little bit of a humble brag there, I think, from Cliff. Yeah, indeed.
So Kinza, I was only 11 when this came out. Jesus, I feel old. But I remember hearing Heart-Shaped Box and thinking I'd heard nothing like it before. Stood out so much, loved the video. Unfortunately, it was a little while before I'd listened to an Utero in full, but now it's an all-time favourite.
That's fair. I mean, I suppose if you're 11 and you hear the single, you're not necessarily buying your own music at that point in 93 if you're 11. Yeah, so you do have to wait until either you're given it or you're a bit older and you can buy it yourself.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much Senseless Repentance would have made sense to me at age 11.
It's very true. Very
true.
But
fair enough, man. 11 and loving Heart-Shaped Box.
Oh, good on you,
man.
Niall Bakewell with the Zeros podcast, which we guest on, in fact, and is about to be released, I think, starting this week. We're mid-July, so I think he's going to start releasing them. He said this was an 18th birthday present from his then girlfriend. Instantly blew me away. Senseless Apprentice was an electric shock. Heart-Shaped Box is still their best song by far. According to Niall.
Amazing.
Right, but Senseless Apprentice is exactly what we said. He's like, what the fuck? It is. It's just a smack whenever you get into this album. It's like, what's going on?
Bradders 75 hot take. Don't particularly care for Nirvana. Ooh. Despite their fully deserved place in music history and legacy, I could list 100 records that mean more to me from that time. I gave this one a lot of time in 93, 94, but never get on with it and have ignored it ever since. And that is a perfectly valid opinion, Bradders, albeit an incorrect one.
Indeed. I wonder if hearing us enthuse about it has changed any of your opinions on that.
I mean,
30 years down the line.
He did come back to us where he said, for context, I think my gripe with Utero is while I'm fine with bands making abrasive and difficult art, this felt like to me Nirvana got what they wanted, decided they no longer wanted it, and deliberately tried derailing it. And the music fan of me doesn't really respect that. Now, I think that is
okay.
I think that is a fucking hot take, Brad.
Well, because that is exactly what they did.
Well, it is exactly what they did, but I think the thing that makes so many Nirvana records so good is they're driven by, as we're talking, by that fucking conflict of Kurt Cobain of like, how can I fucking make myself, how can I make myself fit in? And it's fucking almost ghoulish to derive pleasure from somebody struggling that way, but it's about empathy, and it's about if you can see that in yourself and you can see that struggle and you can see how difficult it is for someone to fit in and find that groove. The idea of finding what you want and then realizing that it's not what you want, that's not a whim thing, that's not like a churlish throwaway thing, that's like a heartbreaking fucking realization that you can do nothing about.
Oh sure, but it's also he saw himself, he was being told by people he would have respected that he'd sold out. Albini said before he was taken on board, he was saying, oh, well, they're just like a shiny REM type band.
Yeah.
And that would have hurt from one of Cobain's heroes to hear that. So he's being told, oh, you're sellout. So he is deliberately going, all right, no, but this is what I can do. This is more me. And so he's absolutely going, all right, no, this we are not just the commercial sheeny band that you've seen on MTV. Yes, it is deliberately what they did, but I've got full respect for him for doing that, because
100%.
he could have just done the same.
And if you go, right, well, they've got 3 studio albums. Mm-hmm. 2 of them have got more in common with them, one of them, and actually the weight of Bleach has got more in common with In Utero than it has with Nevermind. So you actually go, well, on balance, Nevermind.
What's the real Nirvana?
Yeah. Nevermind is the anomaly almost.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
Mate.
Thanks for your comment, Brad. It's good to inspire a bit of debate. But there we go. Ben Collins. I bought Heart-Shaped Box on 7-inch from Asda by my school. I don't remember even Asda selling 7 inches when it was reduced after dropping out of the charts. Probably my favourite Nirvana song. I taped the album from a friend because CDs were expensive back then. They fucking went. Although mine was $11.99 because I bought it on the week of release.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Still got the HMV sticker on it.
All right. Nice.
It's a very intense number 1 album. Now I prefer the 2013 mix.
Oh, right. I mean, I must admit, I don't know which one we listened to on this one. We didn't listen to the deluxe edition.
No, I mean, I'm not sure.
I've
got a feeling it was a 2013 mix that's knocking about on Spotify.
Yeah.
I would have to listen to them side by side to kind of work out.
Exactly. Stephen Hill, though, from the Riot Act podcast, he said, the biggest band in the world releasing an album with stuff like Milk It and radio-friendly unit shifter on it. Absolute heroes. The best album by the most important band in any of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some big words, but I can't argue with any of them.
Yeah, I don't. Again, not my favourite band. I've got to stress this as much as I'm fucking Max. This isn't. I love it. I love this as a fucking piece of art. There are other albums I enjoy more.
Oh, totally.
But this is a fucking wonderful record, and I think I can't argue with anything you say.
He's also not saying they're his favourite, but he's saying the most important.
I know. I think I'm just making the distinction.
Oh, right, fine, yeah.
Martin Young, hey Martin. Hey. This record contains probably the best examples of Kurt's screaming vocals. Agree. Always the best thing about Nirvana for me. On the whole, I think this one is slightly overrated, but still very, very good.
No, fair enough. Okay.
I don't know if it is it overrated. I mean,
I don't know. There's a lot. I guess the people I would talk to in terms of music compatriots would probably say, oh, In Utero is my favourite Nirvana album because it's not the commercial Nevermind, but it's got the tunes, whatever it is. A lot of my friends, I think, would say that. So maybe it is overrated in that, because there's maybe an inverse snobbery going on. I'm not sure. But I don't know. The people I would talk to, and maybe Martin Young's the same, that all he's hearing is, oh, well, that's the best one. I don't know. Brian, at Brian, just Brian, said this was the first anticipated record he can recall eagerly awaiting the release of. I remember getting the Heart-Shaped Box single with the Dave Grohl-fronted Marigold on the B-side, then the album itself, both on cassette. I mean, those were the days when you'd choose to buy a cassette. An amazing listen and still my favourite Nirvana album.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Brian.
David O'Brien, I See Four Fingers. I'd seen Heart Shaped Box on heavy rotation MTV. I was getting very excited about this, or sorry, excited for this, I should say. I think the heavier songs left me a little nonplussed when I first heard it, as the production is so stark, but these would grow on me, especially after hearing live versions. The album is a showcase for Cobain's songwriting. The artwork is superb, and the overall atmosphere is just one of a furiously thrashing, chaotic beauty. The perfect third album. I just threw myself into it, Heart-Shaped Box and so. I see what
nice.
you did
Lovely. There you go.
Favourite track, Milk It.
Milk It. What a fucking tune. That is a biggie. AW at AGMOW 2012. After Horrendous Day, Radio Friendly is still my go-to song. I think it's inspirational that the songs, that while incredibly heavy and including dark subject matter, still managed to have a popular and catchy style. He was a genius. Remember buying it at my local Woolworths. Fuck me.
Nice. Dave Roddy, Raw Power Roddy.
Yes, mate.
Yes, Roddy. Loved Nevermind. Bought in Utero the week it came out on cassette, but the main memory of what was a lad in school, never showed much interest in music, singing Serve the Servants during indoor PE, gone mainstream with a non-mainstream album.
No, interesting. Okay, well, I wonder, was that... Surely this would have been very few people's, if they were into music at all, it would be very few people's first visit to Nirvana. Everyone must have known Nevermind to an extent before getting this.
Who knows? I don't know.
Maybe not. Don't know.
Who knows?
Horsemeat said, being totally honest, I was a little disappointed when it came out. Nevermind had taken me from a kid into a teen, but come 93, I was listening to a lot of slick-sounding death metal like Carcass, so it sounded too raw for me. When I reached my 20s, I finally got it.
No, yeah, fair dues, man. I mean, I was listening to a bit of Carcass around this time, but I think I was also listening to a lot of kind of really stripped down stuff, as I say, you know, that Amphetamine record, Discord records, you know, that kind of slightly kind of grinding, you know, listen to Fudge Tunnel and fucking stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, I mean, I totally see your point, but I'm glad you got it there in the end.
Exactly, if you come round to it at some point, brilliant.
Right, now... I'm gonna have to read this one out.
Yes, please do.
Fucking like Darren Asgutgus, friend of the show, fucking one of my best fucking friends in the entire world, man.
And yeah, he was on here for the Def Leppard episode.
Yeah, look, one if not the most overrated bands in alternative music, in my opinion. Can't deny their influence. Totally understand the popularity, but always preferred Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and Soundgarden. Their best album is Unplugged, which is exceptional. In Utero is good, not great.
Wow.
And I mean.
What the fuck?
Hang on. This being said, if I'd seen them live, I'm 100% confident they'd be one of my favourite bands, and In Utero would be a personal classic. Okay, that's a fair... I mean, I hope you will go back to this record after we've listened to it, because I was hanging around Darren a lot when this record came out, but I guess we never really listened to this album a lot together. But I don't know. This is... this is a fucking so much more raw album than any of the other things that you mentioned. Basically, thank you for all the feedback.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Actually, quite overwhelmed by the amount of feedback we had in, specifically as we only gave it a few hours. We'd have probably got a few more responses in. But yeah, thank you for getting in contact. It's always interesting. Obviously, if you've been here, if you like come in here and listen to us snark on records, I appreciate that this fucking gushing bukkake session possibly may not be what you were after. But you know, it's been a while since we've had one that's just been this.
Oh, we've been looking forward to this one for a long time.
Man.
We've seen this, on the list coming up. We're like, oh, can't wait to get into this.
Yeah, I love being able to get into a record that I love, and I'd always much rather love, because you should love way more than you hate. Are you mad? I thought you'd be happy we made this episode.
What are you quoting there?
Paraphrasing 50 Cent in the club.
Are you not? Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, well.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do the next bit because it's got a really horrible homophobic slur in it.
I see. Well,
but yeah,
who would have thought 50 Cent wasn't tolerant?
Yeah, who wouldn't have thought? Do you know he got shot?
No, he should have mentioned that.
Yeah, he should have, shouldn't he? He should have mentioned that.
Right, look, we're at the end of this, basically, and we've got one more task, and this is not going to be an easy task.
Okay.
So we always have to put at least one and a maximum of 3 songs into our ongoing playlist if it was a number 1 album. This was. So we have to choose 3 out of these songs. Well, I'm going to assume it's 3.
Yeah, it's 3.
It's 3, because I can't narrow it down to less than 3.
Mm-hmm.
So what's it going to be? Which ones?
Okay, now.
Do we make a decision and avoid the singles?
Yep.
Right.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
No singles.
Fine.
So that means there's 4 tracks that are ruled out.
Yep.
Heart-Shaped Box.
Yep.
Penny Royalty.
Yep.
All Apologies.
And Rate Me.
Yeah.
Right, so we're not having those. Okay, fine. I mean, I would go, like I've said, my favourite is Tourette's. Just because it's a fucking punch. but it's not necessarily one of a joint favourite on there, and that's fine. Would you go Milk It?
Yes.
Would you go Francis Farmer? Would you go Scentless Apprentice?
Yeah, Milk It is in.
Right.
Milk
It's done.
Milk It's in. I like Francis Farmer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, for me, one of the most complete songs on there.
Uh-huh.
I would go... if I had my druthers,
Yes.
I would go radio-friendly Unit Shifter.
Right. Dumb isn't a single.
Oh, fuck, Dumb isn't a single. Oh, well, I mean, I'm dumb.
So,
fuck.
If we do Milk It and Dumb,
Yeah.
that's 2, and then let's do Radio Friendly after that then.
Yeah?
Yeah? Because it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. You go radio-friendly
I'm fine
over
with
Scentless,
that.
yeah?
Totally fine.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, I would do that over Scentless Apprentice, even though I love that too. But
Cool.
yeah.
But that's fine then. That's
Yeah?
fine. Yeah.
Right, sweet, done. Love it.
Lovely stuff.
Wicked. Right, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. We will be back as soon as we can. I'm on holiday next week, inconveniently, but you know we'll be back.
We'll see what we can do.
But I'll listen to the the next album by the Pool.
Yeah, sure.
It's a good Pool album.
I suspect it's very summery.
Yeah, it's Pet Shop Boys.
Pet Shop Boys and Very. Yeah,
Very.
so that's the next one we're doing.
Looking forward to that. Thank you for joining us, guys. We'll see you soon. Take it easy.
Nice one. Cheers, guys. Bye. Thank you for checking out this episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. It was produced and edited by us, for which we can only apologise. We're on Twitter at PCL Podcast, on Instagram also at PCL Podcast, and Facebook.com/PCL Podcast. All of these, plus links to our various Spotify playlists, etc., are on our website, which is PCLpodcast.com. Please feel free to get in contact via any of the social media or on PCLmusicpodcast@gmail.com.